Okay, thank you so much, Santan, and I would like to thank to all organizers of this workshop. So as he said, I will be talking about the pi plus electromagnetic form factors measurement at Jefferson Lab that we are doing right now, and then I will uh, present our effect that are being made for extend this study to EIC projects. So, so as we know, we actually don't have proper understanding of these questions. How does the mass of nucleon arise? How does the spin of nucleon arise? So if you see these hadron mass budgets very carefully, you will notice that most of the pion and kaon mass comes from this dynamic chiral break-in. And therefore, this Higgs mechanism is not sufficient to answer these kind of questions. So to understand the DCSB, so pion and kaons are very interesting mesons utilized in this DSB study. So as we know, pion the lightest quark system responsible for the long range character of the strong interaction. And kaons structure is involved with these strange quarks. And both these pion kaons are connected to this Goldstern mode of this DCSB. So next, so as we know, this wave function of pions or mesons, actually we can separate into two, these soft parts, and which actually for low momentum contribution, and then higher tail. And this hard tail actually we can treat in perturbative QCD, but the soft part we cannot. So the overlapping of these two wave functions, soft and hard, actually give rise these form factors. So from a theoretical standpoint, the study of this Q-square dependence of the form factor focuses on finding a description for the hard and soft contributions of the meson wave functions. So in Pion in perturbative QCD, so here in perturbative QCD, so the Pion form factor can be calculated using this formula. So here this cartoons actually they show pion with these two valence quarks, which fraction momentum x and 1 minus x. In this perturbative QCD, so this interaction, so in this case only this one gluon exchange happens. So in this case, the pion wave function actually get this form, and the form factor actually approach to this very simple form. So in this case, so this quantity form factor and this Q square actually behave like this scaling or coupling constant, even for moderate large Q square. So in non-perturbative, where we actually access this experiment, and here actually life get complicated. So you see this form factor actually involve all this hard gluon exchange and then higher order corrections, and here this higher twist, and these are soft parts. So understanding of this interplay of this hard and soft contributions is poorly understood so far. So here, if you see these two pictures, these pi plus and k plus, so the difference between these actually here we have this anti-down quark and here anti-strange quark. So if we understand this mechanism of this k plus electroproduction, we can understand how does this effect if we replace down quark with this anti-strange quark. And in this hard scattering limit, QCD predict that the form factors pion and kaons actually behave similarly. So the ratio of this both form factors approach to this decay constants. So it is important to compare the magnitude and Q square dependence of both form factors. So we have acquired experimental data for both pi plus and k plus meson. But in this talk, I will talk about only measurement for pi plus electromagnetic form factor. So here, this is measurement for form factor. So form factor can be measured model independently via this high energy pion scattering from atomic electrons. So earlier, CERN SPS, they used this 300 J pion beams and then scatter from atomic electrons. And they actually achieved this Q square 0.25, which is low Q square. So from this measurement, they extract the charge radius of pions. So charge radius actually nothing but the slope of this fitting lines at Q square equal to 0. So, but the problem with this technique, actually we cannot have higher Q square if we want measurement with the direct scattering for form factor. So let's say we want 1 Q square, then we need 1 TeV pion beam, which is not practically possible. So, but next, so then this electro production come into pictures, which is indirect technique to extract form factors higher Q square. So, and in this case, so we use the electron beam and scatter with this virtual cloud of pions, which is inside the proton targets. And as we know, at small t, the pion pole dominate this longitudinal cross section. So in bottom model, this is one of the models. So this longitudinal cross section and form factor actually appear in this form. This q square and t and this pole term, the coupling constants. And here this picture shows this coupling of virtual photons with these virtual pions inside the proton target and then produce real pions. But the problem with the technique, this very challenging to separate the longitudinal cross section. And in principle, this is indirect technique. So this form factor actually model dependent, but it is expected that if you go to this pole, near to pole or sufficient small t, then this dependence actually reduce. So then how to separate this longitudinal cross section to measure these form factors. So here this is one technique called this Rosenberg separation technique. So if we have cross section at least two value of epsilon, this is a polarization of virtual photons. And then from fitting this equation simultaneously of these two cross sections, we can actually separate the individual cross section, these longitudinal transfers, and these are two interference cross section, longitudinal transfer and transfer. So, and here this is actually scattering and reaction plane. So scattering plane defines this three moment of coming electron and the scatter electrons. And here this reaction plane defines the three momentum of this but produce pi plus and neutrons. And these are actually four moment of virtual photon, q square, and this invariant mass of this virtual photon and proton, and this is Mendelssohn variable T. So JLab. So JLab has two 1.5 gigahertz superconducting linear accelerators, which provide electron beam for nuclear and nuclear structure study. Here you see layout of this north and south linear, and these are these are passes called the pass where electron beam circulate to achieve energy, higher energy or for particular experiment that require here these experiments. So here this is a beam switch yard. So when particular beam achieved, then they release beam from the here beam switch yard to this experimental hall. JLab has 4 experimental hall called A, B, C, and hall D, and actually currently they are capable of providing this electron beam up to 12 J of energy and beam and a current more than 100 microamperes. The beauty of this facility, actually all hall can receive electron beam simultaneously. So this hall C, this is inside view of hall C. So here we can see this cryo target chamber. So electron beam come from opposite side and then interact here with this target and then goes to this beam dump area through the beam line. So this hall C has 2 highly sophisticated magnetic spectrometers called HMS. HMS stands for high momentum spectrometers, and super HMS, super high momentum spectrometers. And these are magnets called quadrupole, and this is dipole. And same thing here, the quadrupole, and the detector hut of super HMS. But this picture did not actually have this detector hut for HMS. And here this is actually track where these both spectrometer can rotate for a particular experimental settings. And the HMS angle and central momentum range. So this can actually rotate minimum angle 10.5 with respect to beam line and can go up to 90 degree. And the center momentum of this spectrometer is 0.5 to 7 Jeff. And in this case, so this can come to very close to beam line. So this minimum angle for this spectrometer 5.5, and maximum this can go up to 40 degree. And the center momentum of this spectrometer 0.5 to 11 Jeff. So this is actually one of the experiment that we recently corrected all the data. This is Pion LT, and this is an exclusive experiment. This experiment number, whole data of this experiment acquired in 3 phases. First run period run in summer 19, and then second in fall 2021, and the final run period run in fall 2022. So I'm analyzing data of this experiment of this run period, summer 19. These are reaction system of this experiment. So electron beam is scattered with this target, and this scatter electron we measure in HMS, and productive pi plus we measure in super HMS. And this neutron we reconstructed in missing mass spectrum. The data acquired in this run period is this. So here we can see we acquired three beam energy per Q square and W, and here or 3 epsilon for this LT separation purpose. And this W is invariant mass. We can see this is actually higher the resonance region of these protons. And this Q square. And the spokesperson of this experiment, Gartuvar, he is my boss, and Tanya Horn, she is from Catholic University of America, and Dev Gaskell, he is staff scientist at JLab. So here, LT separation for this experiment. So just we saw, we have data 3 epsilon for this 190 run period. And actually, the good thing for this run period, we have these multiple settings where we have measure protons with respect to this direction of virtual photons. We call this left 1, left 2, center, and right 1, right 2. And another good thing for this data, see this T range cover this very small value, right? So this is very close to pion pools. That means this here we maximize the contribution of pions. So in parallel kinematic case, in this case, the major pions in the direction of virtual photon. So here we set super HMS in the direction. So in this case, the Rosenberg separation technique get this simple form. And here we can separate longitudinal transfer cross-section by measuring cross-section at 2 value epsilon or 3 value epsilon and fitting this like this. So this is a previous measurement at JLab they conducted for this setting. And here we can see this fitting this line and they separated this longitudinal transfer cross-section. Here they did this for 2 epsilon. So next, this full LT separation, here we have multiple settings, and we will actually add all this left 1, left 2, center, right 1, right 2 to have full phi coverage. And then from there, we will fit this full LT separation equation. And then from there, we actually get this longitudinal transverse and these interference cross sections. So in this case, this is a previous measurement at JLab. So they did it for epsilon, but I have data for 3 epsilon. So I will fit this full equation with this 3 epsilon total cross section, and then from simultaneous fitting, we will have this individual cross section. So here is one example of acquired data. We can see this actually left setting where this HMS, super HMS set in the actually left side with respect to virtual photon direction. This center setting here, super HMS set at direction of virtual photons, and this is actually right setting. So here I have this projected result for this data that I'm analyzing. So here we see this is a direct measurement. They actually scatter pi minus from these atomic electrons, and they actually measure this form factor. But here, these are 2 projected results that I'm analyzing data to have experimental results for this 2 value of epsilons. And from this measurement, we will actually understand this indirect technique. And now come to this analysis section. So as I said, this all setting left 1, left 2, right 1, right 2, they actually acquire different experimental rates. So for that purpose, we need to first have proper understanding all these efficiency. So here I have this is tracking efficiency of tracking efficiency, but this rate, and here HMS and super HMS both spectrometers, and here this is total lifetime. This computer lifetime, CPU lifetime, and including this electronic lifetime. And here this is tracking efficiency. Sorry, this is horoscope trigger efficiency. So and this is whole data, whole run number or whole this 190 whole data. And next, this luminosity study. So when we understood this rate dependent, then we need to do this luminosity study to understand this whether this rate dependent actually correct or still need to be updated or change something. So here we have data for 2 target. One is carbon and another is liquid hydrogen. So here carbon, as we know, does not boil in Halsey experiment. So the yield of this carbon data should not show any slope with respect to this beam line. So this is for carbon target. So this is actually relative yield corrected with all efficiency. And here we can see actually this is flat between errors. And here this is hydrogen. So here we can see I found out this correction factor that I will apply for this final physics analysis. This is actually, we call this target volume correction factor. So this is 5.296 plus minus this per 100 microampere. So next, when we understood this target volume and all efficiency, then next thing is this elastic cross section. So we also need to reproduce elastic cross section before doing LT separation. So here, and in this case, the different data. So we have this electron beam is scatter bit target, and this scatter electron again we measure HMS, and this proton we measure super HMS. So from this study, so in this case, this action is kinematically overdetermined, and from here we can actually understand this missing energy, missing momentum, and component of missing momentum must be work out to be 0, right? And then next thing, this offset study. So as we can actually understand whether any other extra offset that required for physics production data for doing this LT separation. So here no offset, and we can clearly see this Monte Carlo simulated this blue one, and this green actually experimental data, and we see here they have some data has some offset. So when I did all this, doing all multiple variable study from this reaction, and then I actually measured this offset that required for experimental data. So this in-plane angle, and then out-of-plane angle, and this center momentum, and the beam energy offset. So when I applied this all offset, and then again did this same study, then we can see all these perfectly matching Monte Carlo and experimental data. And here this is actually elastic cross section that I measured for this reaction at 3 value of Q square. So within uncertainty, so this is flat, and that's good for starting this LT separation study. So next thing, this Pion electroproduction. So here this is main production, Pion production reaction. So the first thing we need to actually select this Pion events. So here this is timing information from that we get from both the spectrometer. And this is structure because of this JLab, this RF structure of electron beam. So here we have this real coincidence of these events, electron and pi plus, and other than this, we also have this random coincidence. So the real coincidence also has this random coincidence. So we need to subtract random coincidence from this real coincidence. So by general, we do this select similar kind of random peaks from both sides. In this case, I selected 3 from left and right, and then I normalize with 6 number of same peaks. Then I subtracted this random coincidence. And here we can see this missing mass plot. This is on x-axis missing mass, and here we can see this reaction, this neutron peak, and here this 5 sigma different between this 2 pi threshold and this peaks. So that means the final state we can clearly actually identify from this missing mass technique. And this is missing mass equations. This is exact information that I plotted on this x-axis. And yeah, and here we can see this. Here we have this beam bunches 2 nanosecond, but in EIC we will have 8 nanosecond. So next thing, this actually for LT separation. So we require to have this phase space for all epsilon data match properly. So here we need to make the diamond cut. This is a high epsilon data, and this diamond cut decide from low epsilon where we have only this phase space. And then I need to put this diamond cut to all 3 epsilon to have this common phase space for all 3 epsilon, and then we can do LT separation only this data. And the next thing, binding the data. We also bind the cross section, this longitudinal cross section with this T dependence. So here I bind all this data. Here we have all settings for this Q square. Here only one Q square. And in this case, this high epsilon, this has 4 settings, and mid epsilon, this has 5 settings, and low epsilon has 3 settings. So here I plotted, and then I bind this into 8 T bins. And then for this LT separation equation, where we need also 5 bins. So each T bin, then I bin into 16 5 bin for the better conversion of this Rosen-Muller separation equation. This is same actually Mendelssohn this equation here on x-axis. So next, the cross section. So for cross section, we have this Monte Carlo code that account for this effect of this experiment acceptance, like this length and beam spot. And then from this code also has this empirical model where this produce this cross section. And then we actually simulate from this Monte Carlo SimC, and then we compare with this experimental data. Here is one variable of comparison between these two. So here this blue is Monte Carlo and green experimental data. And then from there, we calculate yield ratio from these two. This is experimental yield and Monte Carlo yield. And then from here, we can actually get this experimental cross section by multiplying this and this model cross section. And the next thing, when we have this cross section for all epsilon, then we will fit this Rosen-Buller separation equation, like here, this is a pivot measurement for 2 epsilon. And then from there, we can separate out individual cross sections. Then next thing, from here, we iterate this model cross section to achieve best agreement between Monte Carlo and experimental data. And this iteration process continue until this experimental cross section changes by less than 1%. So next thing, the form factor. So form factor we extract when we finalize longitudinal cross section, and then from this VGL, earlier they had this only one VGL model, and then from this VGL model they fit model, and then from fitting model then they got this free parameter. This VGL model has only one free parameter, and then they extracted form factor. So first I will actually extract form factor mode my kinematic from this model, and then now we also have this another model called the CKY model. And so here most of theoreticians, so is anyone working on developing cross-section model, will let me know. I would love to talk to you, because we need multiple model to compare our model dependence studies. So here this whole projected form factor for this whole experiment. Here I just explained for 2q square. So you see this experiment had this much q square, and this all projected result that different students analyzing different set of this experiment for having this experimental measurement for this form factor. So now moving on to this EIC study. So from this earlier measurement from JLab, actually shown this important of pi plus and k plus study for understanding this QC transition from weak and strong domains, and understand this DCSV role in this generating hadron mass. So to answer all of these questions, we actually need data which is way beyond these JLab regions. So we hope from EIC we will be able to get this data. So there are experimental issues that we have right now. So this reaction channel is cross section of this reaction actually very small. So we need to understand it can be clearly identified at EIC, and is the detector resolution sufficient to reliably reconstruct these where Q square WT. So work is being done for this study, and this is actually tricky part. So in this case, from EIC data, we cannot do LT separation, and in this case, we need to have some model to get transfer cross section and then subtract transfer cross section from total cross section. So next thing, this extension of this study to EIC project. So here actually we have these again 3 scatter electron, pi plus and neutrons. In this case, we will measure all 3 particles simultaneously, and this is just I pointed out where electron and pi plus and neutron goes. So here neutron we expect that we measure in this GDC, and pions go to this direction, electron go to in this direction from this interaction point. So next here, this is another study, Bettet spatial distribution study that actually we conducted to understand this phase space of these particles. So here electrons and pi plus and neutrons, and this is a different beam energy combination 541, 500, and 10 and 100, and this theta with respect to the proton beams and this center moment of these particles. More detail of this actually and also simulation are in this NUM paper. And another study we actually conducted to understand this efficiency for these 3 coincidence measurement. So here actually we got very confident, so we can see this efficiency actually larger at small t, that we need data. We want data at small t for this more pion pole or K1 pole contributions. So next, this projected results for our this we hope from EIC we will be able to do all these data point for form factor pions. So here we can see this whole around 30, 35 something. We expect that from JLab we will be able to do this measurement. And next, now to summarize my talk, so our research focus on this advancing our comprehension of the electroproduction reaction mechanism for pion and kaons, along with the investigation of their electromagnetic form factors. JLab the only facility for the LT separation. So the data analysis at low K-square that I'm doing right now, this would be the first measurement at this lowest T data that we acquired and multiple these experimental settings. Unlike the pion pole, we know pion pole dominates from this longitudinal cross section, but for this case has never been proved for K1 pole. So we are doing to understand whether this K1 pole dominates similar like pion pole longitudinal cross section. We are delving into this understanding the ability of factorization. This is called factorization. So specifically how this longitudinal transfer cross section is scaled with this Q square. And our group is actively engaged in this extending study for pion and kaon structures at the future EIC machine. That's all. And that's all. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, Vijay, for this very comprehensive summary of your results and questions.
Hi. Yeah, so why can't you do the LT separation?
Yes, that's a
EIC?
good question. Yeah. So I have some backup for that. Yeah, so for this purpose, you see, for LT separation, this is data that we can get for one epsilon, which is higher epsilon. For LT separation, we need at least 2 epsilons. So in this case, we cannot get lower epsilon. They are the actually constraint from this EIC machine. So in this case, if we want this epsilon less than 1, then we need this by less than 0.5. But I think from this from my boss slide, so from this we cannot have this by greater than 0.5 from this high energy EIC or high energy collider machine. But low energy collider, maybe we will have lower epsilon, but not from this high energy.
I mean, typically, for a lot of processes to, say, for example, the longitudinal structure function, right? You need to run at different energies to really extract the longitudinal structure function. So, in principle, one can run the accelerator at lower energies. There's nothing preventing that. So, I don't see why one can't go.
Maybe
to,
some because this is actually from this measurement. So here we can see this I saw the projector result. That's for 1 epsilon. That is 1 epsilon equal to 1. But another epsilon that we want to lower than 1, then we need, let's say 0.8. For that we need this.
Yeah, I understand.
But I don't know, this number we cannot get from this EIC that now be building. So this can only be accessed with small this and low proton collider energy only. So luminosity are too small for a practical measurement. Yeah.
You're saying even if you run the EIC at lower energies, you can't do that?
Yes. Other condition also involved with this energy, so that will not fulfill for this because we will have this exclusive reaction, right? So for exclusive purpose, other condition also required to be fulfilled.
So people have actually done simulations at different energies, EIC energies, and concluded that this is not possible?
For LT separation?
Yeah.
I think no. So
yeah, I would just be careful about saying that we can't do it without really some definitive study that shows that you can.
Well, kinematics, why I think forbidden for lower epsilon to acquire this exclusive kind data from this high energy collision machines. So that's what I understood from my boss, and he told me yes, for low epsilon we cannot have data from this high energy EIC
but EIC will run at a range of energies. So.
luminosity is a lot lower at the lower energies, and the luminosity gets a lot lower
Yeah, I understand.
at the
I
lower
understand,
energies.
I
And then he's
understand.
writing there, if those are center of mass, 5 to 15 GeV, those are all below the lowest that we have imagined, which is 20 something.
Yeah, I understand, I
So-
understand. It's just, I mean, I'm just asking, there's an actual study that really shows that.
Sure, yeah, for completeness, one should look at it or calculate some numbers. You might not even need to do a full simulation study. You could probably just do a luminosity estimate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, which maybe Garth did, but.
So I also have a question about the theory stuff. So if you can just show me your results for JLab, that's.
And this one, or,
No, I mean, there are these different theory curves, right, that you're comparing to.
oh, power factors.
Yeah.
Okay. So EIC power factor, right? So here.
Not yes, well, no, but your data from JLab, right, where you compared.
Yeah, for data, yeah, so for data here and data project here, yeah.
And so, yes, so theory curves are really all over the place, right? So.
But yes, but we don't know where data measurement will go right, which theory curve will pick right data. So we will have to measurement.
Oh, these are just. But
They are
which-
projected on basis of the previous measurement.
But the previous measurement is a black there, or the, which is a previous measurement? It's
So
very hard.
this one direct measurement, this
Right,
very low chi-square,
right,
and then this and this JLab measurement.
right,
This they projected, did not measurement, and yes, both experiment. This is our experiment for kaons,
right.
and they are for pions. Yeah, these are both for our experiment projected. These all.
I see,
So yeah, not measurement.
I see, okay.
So yeah, so only this yellow. Yeah, this one is measured. This from this pi2 experiment.
I see.
This one, yes. So on this basis, actually, these all projected.
I see. And that's the range of theory predictions. that you-
Yeah.
As I showed, there are theory predictions from QCD, which is the lattice results, so which goes at least up to 10 GeV for pion and 30 GeV for kaons.
Yeah. So. This is our projected, and this is again theory. So, yeah.
So lattice certainly doesn't agree with any of those. Anyway.
Okay. Raju, you want to say something?
So there's no lattice curves on
No,
this?
no lattice, just for this model.
Okay. So I think we took a lot of questions. So we will thank Vijay
Okay,
again
thank you.
for your talk.